I know what the calendar says, but it sure doesn't feel like August. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at noon. Mike Strelo is off on this Friday. I'm Michele McCormack. Ready Weather warned us this would happen. Meteorologist Chris Nelson in for Rebecca today with what could turn out to be the coldest day of summer. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, after a rainy opening day, the 2017 edition of the Wisconsin State Fair is entering its first weekend on a chilly note. Like that's going to stop anyone. It sure didn't stop CBS 58's Julie Parisi, who joins us now live. Julie? Here's a look at tonight's musical lineup on the main stage. John Mellencamp headlines with Carlene Carter starting at 8 tonight. New at noon, Milwaukee police want you to be on the lookout for a car that was involved in a hit and run that injured a Milwaukee motorcycle officer. The picture on the left is from a surveillance camera which captured the suspect vehicle, a Mazda CX-5, with license plate number 511RNY. We'll be posting that on our web as well so you can get a closer look. This crash happened yesterday near 27th and Clybourne. Two motorcycle officers pulled out of a nearby parking lot to pull over a car, and that's when the driver of that Mazda slammed into the back of one of the motorcycles before speeding off. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of the Mazda, or any information on the case for that matter, is asked to please call Milwaukee Police at 414-935-7360. Prayers have begun in memory of an event that rocked our community 5 years ago.
For hiding. Okay, we do have officers attempting to locate the shooter. Okay, we have officers there.
On August 5th, 2012, a Cudahy man walked into the Sikh Temple of Oak Creek and opened fire. He would kill Sikhs, including brave members who put themselves in harm's way to protect women and children who hid in a food storage closet. The gunman brought down by the heroics of Lieutenant Brian Murphy, who took 15 gunshots that day, and his backup, Sam Linda. The FBI would conclude that the shooter acted alone and was not directed by any white supremacist group, even though he had well-documented associations. CBS 58's Brendan Cullerton is live in Oak Creek, where a weekend full of memorials and community activities have started. Brendan, thank you. 1 woman and 5 men were murdered that day. A mother, a priest, a church leader, and a farmer just looking for a new opportunity. 4 were Indian nationals. The remaining were Americans. All had contributed both spiritually and creatively to our community. Pardeep Kalika, whose father died fighting the gunman, will join us live today on the CBS 58 News at 4, along with survivor Mandeep Kaur. It will be a time of tribute, but also a time to talk about the various community events, uplifting events that are coming up as we stop to remember and continue to heal. Please join us. So, Foxconn is coming to Wisconsin, but will all those jobs go to Wisconsinites? Concerned are you that local candidates are not ready, don't have the proper job skills to take those Foxconn jobs?
Very concerned. I mean, that keeps me up at night.
Yeah, that's Earl Buford from Employ Milwaukee. He says it is crucial for job seekers to register with the program now. It works in conjunction with other workforce boards in several local counties and helps an estimated 20,000 people a year with job training or placement. Now, demand is expected to double between construction jobs and also jobs within the high-tech plant that most likely will be in Kenosha or Racine counties. And he doesn't expect any conflict with a newly formed consortium with other Midwestern cities.
No, my first priority is getting Milwaukee and Wisconsin residents into those jobs first. That's priority number 1. If there was to be a situation where folks want to come to Wisconsin and move to Wisconsin and pay taxes in Wisconsin, we have that consortium in place so we can kind of process that.
Now, to get started with Employ Milwaukee, you should call 414-270-1700. Coming up at 4, the 3 locations where you can also get tapped into resources for the Foxconn and Milwaukee Bucks Arena projects. A 10-hour public hearing on incentives to bring Foxconn to Wisconsin ended late last night in Madison. Questions were raised about the potential impacts because of the rich tax incentives being offered, how the roads will hold up, and possible impact on the environment if Foxconn is allowed to bypass permits for dealing with dredged materials and wetlands.
We still believe that the project can go forward expeditiously, and that we can still have the regulatory framework in place to make sure that the environment is protected.
Meantime, there is already pushback on the deal from one major conservative group. Americans for Prosperity says, as free market activists who staunchly oppose tax incentives, we cannot support the expensive refundable tax credits in this package. MPS is making sure your kids are healthy and ready to start the school year.
More children that we reach, the better their attendance is going to be at school, the better their health outcomes are going to be.
Families gathered at North Division High School for one-stop shopping provided by the Milwaukee Health Department, along with several community agencies and businesses who made it possible to offer checkups, immunizations, and backpacks full of supplies, and all at no charge.
It takes a concerted effort. We need all of these organizations under our tent to reach our children where they are.
There were complimentary haircuts and displays about healthy lifestyle choices. This goes on until 3 this afternoon, again at North Division High School. Then look for another back-to-school health fair at Hayes Bilingual School on Milwaukee's South Side on August 11th. And as students prepare to go back to school, a new warning about a disturbing online trend. Online videos featuring popular kids characters such as Elsa from the Disney movie Frozen and Spider-Man participating in some very inappropriate activities. CBS 58's Christine Flores speaks with concerned parents and shows you how to ensure your kids don't see something harmful. Watch for her special report tonight only on the CBS 58 News at 10. And coming up on the CBS 58 News at noon, the president responds to reports of a grand jury now looking into his campaign's ties with Russia. And the Ford Motor Company weighs a massive recall that could impact police departments around the country. President Trump downplays the investigation into Russian meddling of the 2016 presidential campaign, even as he shifts his attention to some positive economic news. The gain of more than 200,000 jobs in July. Mola Lenghi has the latest from the White House. A CBS News investigation has learned American automaker Ford may be close to a major recall that could affect police departments across the country. The development comes amid exhaust complaints with the company's best-selling Explorer that some departments say are making their officers sick.
If you're running your air conditioning or your vent system, that's the air that's coming through the engine compartment. So you are sucking carbon monoxide into the cabin if you have that kind of a leak.
They live in these cruisers for 8 hours at a time, maybe longer.
The Milwaukee Police Department tells CBS 58 News that it is conducting inspections but has not had any complaints regarding carbon monoxide. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office also not seeing any problems. In fact, Sheriff Dale Schmidt tells me he believes the problem is likely the result of how equipment to the Explorer was installed. Okay, we're back in the CBS 58 Ready Weather Center now with Chris. Woo.
Right? I don't know what to talk about at first because we have so many things to talk about. Showers, it's windy, it's cold.
I wish I had a coffee stand at the state fair this year.
You'd be making a lot of money, guaranteed.
Thank you, Chris. Well, it didn't take long for football to return to the Wisconsin school named after Coach Vince Lombardi. Earlier this week, we told you the story of how the small Green Bay school would have no football season this coming year because the district couldn't find a coach. After that story aired, the football-loving community in Green Bay responded. This email was sent to families at Lombardi Middle School Wednesday announcing that their student-athletes will be padding up for this football season.
After the story aired, we've had probably about 15 people reach out to us. We live in Green Bay, so football's huge.
Flood says they're looking to hire 4 coaches for the 7-week season. The district says interviews will be done next week, with the season beginning in about 4 weeks. And check this out, an attraction described as the world's biggest bounce house is now set up along Milwaukee's lakefront. This is called Big Bounce, America's giant inflatable complex. It's located along Lincoln Memorial Drive, just north of Bradford Beach. Of course, there is an admission charge. Tickets range from $12 to $39, depending on the time and package. The bounce house will be up through Sunday. Coming up on your CBS Money Watch report, some welcome news on the jobs front. Stay with us. In today's Money Watch, a boost for President Trump on the jobs front. The U.S. Bureau of Labor says America has added more than 1 million jobs since President Trump took office. The U.S. economy added a strong 209,000 jobs in July, which is more than economists had expected, dropping the unemployment rate 4.3%, which is a 16-year low. Toyota and Mazda announced today they're teaming up to build a new $1.6 billion plant in the U.S. The plant will be able to produce about 300,000 cars a year and create up to 4,000 jobs. President Trump had criticized Toyota for building a plant in Mexico to make Corollas. The company now says it will produce them at the U.S. plant and will instead make Tacoma pickups south of the border. Meanwhile, a worrisome situation for the auto industry in Britain. Car sales in the UK dropped by 9.3% in July compared with the previous year. The British government blames the Brexit process and says it was the fourth consecutive monthly decline. Forbes magazine says J.K. Rowling will be the world's most highly paid author this year. The Harry Potter creator is said to have earned $95 million just this year. The English author beat Dan Brown, Stephen King, and John Grisham to top Forbes' list of the 10 highest earners in the global industry for the first time in almost 10 years. Fans recently celebrated the 20th anniversary of her first book. All right, looking live now. The Dow up yet again, 39 points and counting over that 22,000 mark. We'll have another check of those temperatures, which are going the opposite direction, with meteorologist Chris Nelson when we come back. We have breaking news. Kenosha County law enforcement have just announced that they have arrested 2 people in connection with the death of Olivia McKay. A 19-year-old and a 17-year-old from Kenosha were taken into custody last night. You'll remember McKay, just 17, was reported last week before her body was found in a wooded area in Mount Pleasant. Family and friends gathered earlier this week to lay her to rest and to hold a vigil remembering her. We do have a crew working to gather more information, but some welcome news for a family of a murdered 17-year-old. 2 arrests to report. Time now for News on the Go, a recap of our top stories that were happening at this hour. Prayers have begun at the Sikh Temple in Oak Creek as we enter the weekend marking 5 years since that devastating mass shooting. CBS 58's Brendan Cullerton is there. Milwaukee police need your help in locating the driver of a car involved in a hit-and-run crash yesterday that injured a Milwaukee motorcycle officer. Police are looking for this Mazda CX-5. The crash happened near 27th and Clybourne before noon. The injured officer was hospitalized but has since been released. Chris. All right, and that is your CBS 58 News on the Go. I don't know, Chris, everybody's saying, yeah, this happens in August. I don't remember this happening in August.
It seems like every year, just one day we'll have that cooler day. I don't know if it just feels like the perfect storm because we have the wind, we have the rain, it's chilly, but it's only one day.
I guess I'm blocking it from my memory. All right, join us today on the news at 4. We've got the Better Business Bureau talking about how to save money on school supplies. Be a savvy consumer, but you got to join us today on the CBS 58 News at 4.